Time now for some stories to start your morning. It is March Madness, which means heroes are made. Hearts will be broken. A couple of bracket busters yesterday. 4-seed Arizona lost to 13-seed Buffalo by 21 points. Zona held to just 11% from three. Nick, besides this, I don't know, throwing your day off a little bit, what do you make of the Wildcats losing?
Man, how the hell do you have a 2-point game at the half against Buffalo turn into an embarrassment? You lose by 20-plus points. You're a lot of people's Final Four sleeper in the four line because you got the best player in the country, theoretically, DeAndre Ayton. How's DeAndre Ayton go from averaging 32 and 16 in your last two games on 75% shooting to getting 13 shots in a game? And how in the world do you go 2 of 18 from three while Buffalo goes 15 of 30 from three? Like, there's the game right there. That discrepancy in threes, that's frustrating.
It seems like you're calling for an investigation.
Man.
Well, it seems like the whole team, based on the investigation the coach is involved in, the whole team was concentrating on something else. I didn't like right after the game, two of their stars declared for the NBA. Seems like this team was very, very, very distracted.
That's a fair point. By the way, Arizona, here's what you have going for you. All 5 starters leaving and nobody in your recruiting class right now. Because everyone's decommitted. They're in trouble.
Another big name went down yesterday when Oklahoma was knocked off by Rhode Island. Freshman sensation Trae Young scored 28 points, but in the end it wasn't enough to keep the Sooners season alive. As a reward for their stellar performance, Rhode Island next gets to play the Duke Blue Devils on Saturday. But first, let's talk Trae Young. CC, do you think he'd be better off coming back for another season or going pro?
I really think so. He is not the kind of guy that has the physical ability, I believe, because he's not going to be able to play above the rim. He is a shot maker, a volume shooter. Doesn't have the dribbling skills of a Steph Curry. Steph is 6'4" also, so Steph's dribbling skills, Steph's ability to be, he's taller than him. And, Nick, you pointed this out. Steph, man.
Steph stayed 3 years of college.
Yeah.
Stayed 3 years. By the way, like people, Steph just had his 30th birthday party. So think about that for a second. You probably, in your mind's eye, don't think of Steph Curry as a 30-year-old. LeBron, 33, Steph, 30.
Yes.
It feels like LeBron's 8 years older than him. Why? Because Steph's only really been in the spotlight. I know he had the run at Davidson, but he's only been considered a star the last 4 years. So 3 years at college, 3 years in the NBA developing his game.
Sound like a recipe.
That's when he became Steph. Now, it is very rare for a player projected to go as high in the draft as Trae Young is. He's almost a lock top 10 pick to come back for another year. But the other thing when I'm watching yesterday, how is that going to fly in the NBA when you're taking the shots he's taking at the percentage he's taking them, even if it's a decent percentage, when you're no longer the best guy on your team? Oklahoma had to deal with it because that offense grinds to a halt when he goes to the bench. I don't know how that flies in the NBA as a rookie. So I think he will come out. I understand your point as to why maybe he shouldn't.
All right, friend of the show, Jay Wright led Villanova to a big win over Radford yesterday. Nova clicking on all the cylinders. They shot nearly 60% from the field. They were in control for the whole game. Good news for me because I've got Villanova in 114 of the brackets that I filled out yesterday. Nick, A, do I have too many brackets? And B, did Nova look like a team that could go all the way to you?
Absolutely. The only thing Nova has going against him right now is I picked him to win the national championship.
Uh-oh.
And I am on a cold streak, America, on picking champions across all sports.
Terrible to hear.
Villanova had all 5 starters scoring double figures. They were in full control. Unlike the other number 1 seed played yesterday, Kansas, they're trailing big in the first half. It's a 5-point game with 12 minutes left. Villanova ended this game by the under 12 timeout. Like Radford was just waiting for the buses. So Villanova did everything they were supposed to do yesterday. Yeah, they covered the spread.
Of course, they look like they can go the way. But my analysis on the coach. I told the coach last week, Coach, the tie bar thing got to rest that. So Coach rested the tie bar. Big East tournament, they did not lose. Last night's game, nice suit, Coach. Looking like a champion. I like it.
Tie bar?
Lighter gray. No tie bar.
No tie bar, CC.
Jay, listen, we know you watch the show. We appreciate that. For the love of God, please, will you put on a tie bar for the Sweet 16 or round of 32?
Why?
Just to quiet my partner.
Listen. Finally,
That's
Tiger Woods
big hate.
building.
Big hate.
Why are you hating on fashion? Tiger Woods building on his momentum from last week. Finished the day at the Arnold Palmer Invitational at 4 under, 4 strokes behind the leader. He even nailed a 71-foot putt. This from the guy who's only 11 months removed from spinal fusion surgery. Cece, how impressed were you with Tiger yesterday?
You got to be impressed. Twice this season, he's played in back-to-back tournaments. We know he had a second-place finish last week in Tampa Bay at the Valspar. This tournament, which he's won 8 times, is one of his favorite tournaments. Why? Not only because of the golf course, but because his respect for Arnold Palmer and what he has meant for golf. So he's very, very comfortable on this golf course, but this tournament's totally different than last week's tournament, not only because of the course, but because of the field. 24 of the top 50 players are playing in this field, but the thing that I love is the short game, the chipping and the putting. Tiger is still doing on a level of the Tiger Woods of old when he won 14 majors. So I believe that he'll get his driver squared away. I mean, he's got distance, just doesn't have the control right now. But because of his short game and consistently being able to play and then practice are great signs for Tiger Woods going forward.
Can I just ask you a question? How much of, as a professional athlete, him coming back to the game now after everything went through, is sort of muscle memory, and how much of it is he having to actually practice and get better at?
Well, this is the thing. He has a new swing. Tiger's had 3 or 4 different swings since he's been on tour because his body, because of the lower back fusion, which there's never been a PGA Tour player who had a lower back fuse. So Tiger Woods is doing something. So all the movements are new to him. But his feel around the greens and his intimidation, that is still there. But he is learning how to deal with this new body. I like, especially in a 6-month window, I like how he's adjusted to this new swing.
Amazing.
All right, so as far as Tiger's chances of winning, I know, listen, when he went to the clubhouse yesterday, he was at 4 under, the leader was at 5 under. The afternoon crew had better scoring conditions. That led to Henrik Stenson getting to 8 under, and a couple guys I'm not familiar with, Aaron Wise and Taylor Gooch getting to 7 under, but we'll see what the scoring conditions are when Tiger goes out today. So, because when he went to the clubhouse yesterday, he was near the top of the leaderboard, fell down a little bit when those low numbers got posted. Some things, real reasons for optimism about Tiger's chances to, for the second straight tournament, compete into Sunday, compete into the 72nd hole. Par 5 scoring. 4 par 5s, 4 birdies. That was something he wasn't great at the Valspar. No. He was great at yesterday. He opened his round, his first 9 holes, 3 under. But he opened on the back 9. So he has, you've talked about talking to Tiger and hearing Tiger talk about how still to this day he gets nervous opening a round. So he's nervous in round 1. Round 1's usually his worst round. He's also opening on the back 9. So when he's at his most nervous, he scores 3 under on what will be, because he started on the back 9, the final 9 holes he plays on Sunday. He knows he can go post a number if he needs to. And then lastly, he got a tough ruling. I don't want to say it was an unfair ruling because I'm not an expert on the rules of golf as far as man-made obstructions and things like that with the fence that he hit the ball into when he got the double bogey. But he responded to that double bogey by having one of the best approach shots he's had all year to lead to he went birdie, par, birdie, birdie, par, birdie after the double bogey to get back to 4 under. We had seen on his previous comeback attempts when something goes a little wrong, especially if he feels like something a little unfair. When we saw at the Masters, the last major he competed in, when he hit the amazing shot that hit the pin and then ended up going into the water, that totally affected him for the next few holes. He seems to be at least approaching that mental impermeability that he had when he was at his absolute apex.
Impermeability, you remembered, but hibernate is the word that you couldn't get.
Right,
and Goldilocks,
You're bringing up old stuff from 90
thing
minutes
you couldn't
ago.
get.
I asked Jenna on the show, I said, what do bears do in the winter? She said hibernate. I was like, good point. Thank you.
Let's just keep in mind, Tiger has not really started practicing until 6 months ago is when he first picked the club up and started again. So that is ridiculously impressive. Let's go back to some basketball now. And another loss for LeBron James last night, this time to a blazing hot Trail Blazers team. They've won 11 straight games. So LeBron did his part. He did the best he could, 35 points, 14 rebounds, 6 assists. But on the other side, Damian Lillard, C.J. McCollum, they combined for 53 points. So Cleveland has now lost 7 of 12 since the All-Star break. LeBron talked about his supporting cast after the game. Take a listen.
It's been a long time since I haven't played, with another All-Star, on my team. So, having Kev out, it's been very, very challenging, obviously, for all of us. Kev is, big usage rate on our team. We get the ball when things get chaotic. We can throw it to him in a low post and get some things going. But it's not just Kev. I mean, we're missing Double T as well. Rodney went back out again. So, you take the. Obviously, you want to win every game, but my approach doesn't change.
So, see, the theme the last couple of days has been LeBron did all this, but it wasn't enough. So I ask you, does LeBron have enough help around him at this point?
No, absolutely not. I mean, injuries. If we go to Golden State. Does Kevin Durant? If he didn't have the rib right now, does he have enough talent around him? No, man, sports is talent-driven. LeBron is the king, but it is not absent of having a pawn or some other items to be able to utilize. Look at the starting lineup last night. LeBron, Rodney Hood, Jeff Green, Cal Korver, and George Hill.
Jeff Green started at center.
Yes.
There have so many big men. Jeff Green started at center for him.
Yeah, so no, and you could see that by LeBron talking about Kevin Love. No, it's not only. It's Double T, Tristan Thompson. No, last night, Larry Nance. Now because Love is out, Double T is out, now Larry Nance, they didn't wear him out.
Yeah.
Now he's hurt. So when you look at it, second chance points, they got dominated in the paint. That's a big man thing, 20-4. Rebounds, they got dominated, 50-34. That's a big man thing. Yes, LeBron needs some help. I know Nick is really excited about their backcourt play. I mean, they're playing at a record-breaking pace.
I mean, the backcourt's been brutal all year long. George Hill needs to be better. Rodney Hood, I know that he's kind of a hybrid. He's more of a 3. He needs to be much better in his last few weeks. And JR has been...
No, Damon Jones need to throw a bowl of hot soup
on JR?
Wake him
up?
Yes.
Come on, JR. JR has been, you could argue, for the minutes he's played, the least productive non-rookie in the NBA this year.
You wouldn't even have to argue.
And that's absent throwing a bowl of soup at the assistant coach. But I know people get sick of hearing, oh, LeBron needs more help. Oh, it's not enough help. I just want to go through, just remind people, the good teams in the league, you know what all of them have right now? Couple All-Stars. Whether they made the All-Star team this year or not.
Yes.
All-Star. Go to the West. Houston. Chris Paul, Harden. Golden State, they got 4 of them. Portland, CJ, I know CJ hasn't made an All-Star team, but he is an excellent player. Damian Lillard. Oklahoma City, Russ and Paul George. Minnesota, Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns.
And an unhappy Wiggins.
New Orleans, pre-injury. The Brow and Boogie. Go to the East, Toronto. Lowry and DeRozan. Boston, Kyrie and Horford. Washington, Wall and Beal. Philly, Philly damn near had 2 with Simmons and Embiid. Like, when we are talking about the best teams in the league, now, most teams don't have 3 All-Stars the way LeBron did last year with Kyrie and Kevin Love. Most teams don't. No team has 4 of them the way Golden State does.
Oh, but you would put Kevin Love there?
Absolutely.
Kevin Love?
He was no question about it. I think Kevin Love, that's what he's talking about. When he says I haven't played without an All-Star, he's referencing we need K Love back. Like, they absolutely need Kevin Love back. And so I think they are going to be, once Kevin Love gets back, they will look drastically different. I thought Sarah Kustak, who was on with us yesterday, made a really good point about Kevin Love's ability to help the backcourt play because he will draw more people away from the basket, won't be as much clogging the paint the way Tristan or Larry Nance do. But when you're playing Ante Zizic and John Holland, 20 combined minutes, guys that would not necessarily be the best player on a lot of G League teams across the league, you're going to struggle. And when you're playing the hottest team in the league, you're going to struggle. What was frustrating for me is, man, LeBron announced to everyone, we're here to win tonight, boys. I don't think the Cavs necessarily go into every game like, we definitely are here to win.
Right.
LeBron was last night. And if the backcourt can't produce on offense, can you try to hold CJ and Dame under 50? Is that enough? Can you hold them under 50 since you're only going to produce as a cumulative backcourt outside of Clarkson? What was it, 13 points combined? Like, can you do that?
At this point, do either of you worry at all where they're seated in the East? Or do you think none of this starts until Kevin Love gets back and we start seeing what they've got?
I'm not worried about the seeding as long as if they're at full strength. If we start the playoffs, I don't care if Kevin Love plays 3 games. If they start at full strength in the playoffs, I don't care. They can be 2 or they can be 22. As long as they're in the tournament, in the playoffs, they got a chance at full strength.
Here is the one. I don't care about the seeding. I do care about the matchup. And I know I've been captain. I'm not worried about the Cavs, and I would take a polygraph right now and tell you I believe the Cavs are going to make the NBA Finals.
Beep, 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 beep.
Back it up.
However, I will tell you this. While I don't care if they're what seed they are, playing Philly in round one could present them with some problems because they do not have an answer for Joel Embiid. And you might say, well, nobody has an answer for Joel Embiid. However, the Cavs' best lineups are ones Embiid will take advantage of. If you want to play Kevin Love at the center, one of the reasons you can do that is the other team's center can't guard him, so it takes him off the court. Joel Embiid might be the NBA Defensive Player of the Year this year. Think back to the All-Star game when the whatever team it was, the Steph team, the LeBron team tried to take advantage of Embiid on the Steph team, so they put him in pick and roll. And Embiid won those matchups. So all of a sudden, Love at a center isn't an advantage. And now you got to play Tristan Thompson, who's having the worst year he's had since his second year in the league, who's coming off an injury. That's a matchup. If they fall, I would rather the Cavs play out of home court in the first round rather than play Philly in the first round.
I like it.
You said that. Coming up,
The process.
Colin Kaepernick is working out again. Eric Mangini's going to join us to discuss
But then if they beat them, though, then he'd be like, you can't beat them, join them.
No, that's the other thing.
Next. Don't go anywhere. Exactly where you are. Don't